All right, hey everybody. So today we're going to be working on a Cannondale. This is a Cannondale Super 6 Evo X. I think that's what they called it. Super 6 Evo X. It's basically like their cyclocross bike, but kind of you could use it as a gravel bike. And today we're gonna go through the brakes. Their brake fluid in here is about, I would say, a couple of years old. Probably maybe longer. I don't think it's been flushed in a long time, over a year. So we're gonna flush it. This bike lives down by the beach, so it gets a little salty and whatnot. So we're gonna flush out the brakes, clean it up a little bit, and we're also gonna be installing new tires on this. This comes with like this still has the stock tires on it, I believe. They're a little worn out in the back. He does a mix of riding, gravel, and road. We're gonna put something that's a little bit wider on here, so it should be a little more ideal for gravel, but also not as like aggressively knobby as these. So it'll roll a little bit faster on the road, but also just feel a lot more comfortable. He wanted to go with like using 2 wheel sets, but the problem, which is okay to do 2 wheel sets, like if you want to have a road wheel set where you have road tires, and then you want to have like a gravel wheel set, that's okay. I think you don't necessarily should do that. If you're riding on the road, just use gravel tires. I mean, unless you're trying to race or keep up with a group, then I could see that, but then at that point you might as well just buy a gravel bike. And then the other issue with this bike is that it has the asymmetric rear chainstays on it, so the wheel has to be dished specifically for this frame. So if you put like any wheel set on here, that you have to have it dished, and it has to be dished like so far that you like almost have to use a different spoke length. Like you can't just dish another, you can't just take like a stock wheel and just dish it. Like I don't think that's very efficient. So yeah, this is kind of one of those, like, you know, Cannondale is like, they're always like doing weird stuff with their bikes. That's just Cannondale style. So yeah, we're just gonna put some new tires on it, flush the brakes, check the chain, kind of give it a cleaning. Maybe just kind of clean up the bar tape a little bit. It doesn't look like it's like worn out, so we don't need to replace that, but just kind of clean it a little bit. So we'll get started now. What do you want from me? I got no treats. I got nothing. I got nothing for you. Sorry. And this will give me a chance now to inspect the brake pads. We'll take a look here. I'm just gonna use a flashlight. Okay, yeah, they look great. The front ones look really good. Rear ones look solid too. Yeah, they look really good. There's no point in changing those. I'm not trying to rip anybody off. We'll check the chain now, just for chain's sake. Let's see. Feels pretty tight. That feels good. And typically if I check chains, I like to use like multiple chain checkers. I'm just a psychopath like that, because I believe that like some chains and some chain checkers don't mix, and so you get inaccurate readings. And what I like to do is just use several chain checkers to make sure, mostly because I don't want to be wrong. I just don't want it to be like where the chain checker tells me that it's still good, but it needed to be replaced. That's the worst case scenario for me, because I don't want to give the bike back to the customer with the bad chain. So we're gonna use, like I said, several chain checkers, and I should have did this while the wheel was on. That would have made it a little bit easier. But this chain is good. You can usually tell right away how someone rides just based off of a few things. I mean, still got the stock brake pads on it. So that's a good sign. He doesn't ride this very aggressively. So right now I'm just checking the rotor. I don't need to use a rotor checking tool. Sometimes you can. I just want to see. I can feel the thickness of it. It feels fine. So let's get started on these wheels. I might jump around. Whoops, sorry. I might jump around. Whoops. There goes the valve core. I might jump around. I might do the wheels first, and then do some other stuff. Do these have tubes in them? Actually, these have tubes in them. Okay, so I guess I didn't realize that this had tubes in it. Oh, gosh. Yeah, this is gonna suck. All right, this has got the super thick, awkward. Wait, is the... No, there is a tube. Yeah, there's a tube. It's got a really thick rim strip on there, and so it's gonna make it harder to get the tire off. So I do have to use a tire valve or a tire lever. I think most wheels nowadays, for the most part, especially if it's got this thick freaking rim strip on there. There it is. And you can see it's kind of folded. Okay, so I need valves for this. I also need to do tape. For some reason, I thought this was tubeless, and I was wrong. All right, got one pair of basic valves. We're gonna give this bad boy a little bit of a cleaning. And this is just soapy water. That's all it is. Nothing fancy. You don't really need anything crazy. I'm just gonna wipe this down so I'm not getting dirt on anything. And then we're just gonna hit it with some alcohol real quick. This is 70% isopropyl alcohol. It's not, you don't need it to be super strong. I just want to make sure there's no like residue, grease, or oil from when they built the wheels. And we're gonna use our truing stand. This should work. Usually works pretty well. And while it's up here, we're gonna check, make sure it's true, and it looks like it's, yeah, it's gonna need to be trued. This is like a newer wheel, so spokes have probably stretched over time. So it looks like we got a little wave coming this way. So I'm gonna true it towards the drive side. Oh yeah, these are pretty loose. It looks like it has a little bit of a hop in it. You can see kind of right there that it's like going up and down a little bit, so it's a little out of sync. It's very sharp. So, but the nice thing about this is that it needs, all the spokes kind of need to be tensioned. Like we need to put more tension on it, so this is good. So you can do two things at once. Put some tension on it and try to get the rim a little more balanced, get the hops out. All right, so just about done. Got this a lot straighter, spoke tension's better, a lot higher spoke tension, which is better. It's a lot more balanced now, and it's straighter. So before I finish it, what I do with all wheels I true is I'm gonna give it a little stress test here. So we just put it on like a soft surface like this, and then we're just gonna press down on the sides of the rim. And what this is gonna do is kind of reset those spokes a little bit. This is kind of like a little side-to-side pressure, because sometimes when you true a wheel or even build a wheel, you gotta stress test it a little bit after you put tension on it, because once I put it back on the truing stand right now, it should be a little bit out of true. And then basically what I do is I will true it, and I will repeat this whole process until it doesn't come out of true. And then that's when you know you've got it in the right, got everything locked in right. Throw that back in there. Okay, so now we gotta set this up tubeless, so we need to figure out the width of the rim. So we're at about 20 and change there, so probably like 23. You could probably fit a 25 in there. As far as the rim tape width goes, I gotta see what I have. I have straight up 20. I think 20 is gonna be too narrow. It needs like a 23, but I think we just do 25 will be fine. I think this is 25. So before I start this, I'm just gonna give my hands a little rinse. And it's very important that you don't touch the sticky part of the tape, because your finger oils will mess with the adhesive. So I'm just gonna clean off one more time. Gotta make sure it is like super sterile, no oil, It's gonna ruin the seal. Gonna have to touch it a little bit right here. Okay. So now we're gonna come back up here where I touched it, and we're just gonna trim this off. And so this has a pretty deep channel in it, and we're not gonna push the tape into the channel because it's pointless. It's gonna stretch into there itself. But what I want to make sure is I get this section on there, and I think I just screwed that part up. Did I? No, that looks good. So, all right, that's good enough. Should be fine. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and run the tape, and we just keep tension on it. Like I said, we don't have to push it down in the center. It'll, once you put the tire on and put pressure in it, the pressure from the tire, okay, so this is, yeah, the pressure from the tire will push it down in the channel where it needs to be. So make sure, this is the valve right here, so we need to make sure we go pretty far past the valve. And then we want to cut this sideways like that so it lays in there nice. And we'll start back here, and we're just going to try to push this onto itself. I'm not trying to push it into the channel, I'm just trying to make sure that this section is actually glued to itself, adhered to itself, however you want to call it. So I'm trying to push all the bubbles out, because what happens is, like, because there's a channel and there's a little bit of a dip here, when you lay this part, sometimes it doesn't get stuck, doesn't stick correctly, so then the sealant sneaks up under here and then gets, you know, wreaks havoc. You don't want that. So now we'll just take a rag, and we're going to use a tire lever, and we're just going to kind of push down. I want to make sure that the sides are pushed down. And the tire's going to do most of the work here for us. We don't necessarily have to do this much, but we just want to make sure it is, at least this end of it is the most important. We want to make sure that is sealed. And that's why I kind of just like to push all the bubbles out of there. Now for the fun part, we're gonna put a hole in it so we can, for the valve. So this is my way of doing it. I taught myself this way. I didn't learn it from anybody. I'm sure other people have done it before. I'm probably not the first person in the world to do this, but I like to burn the hole. And that is because I like the way that, like, instead of like cutting it, some people cut it, some people sand it. But I feel like when you burn it, it like creates like a small ring, obviously, from the hole. And like the plastic kind of curls up on itself and creates like a thicker, like, the ring is a little bit more robust, like it won't split once the outer part of it dries. Sorry, I'm not explaining this very well. I apologize for that. So we don't need to get this too hot. And we just do need to find the valve hole though. Where did it go? The valve hole should be, okay, here's the valve hole. So I can't see it from this side, so I gotta push it in from this side, and we're just gonna kinda just touch it like that. And then, yeah, just like that. We're just gonna swirl it around, create like the perfect hole that won't split. That's what we want to avoid, is it splitting. All right, so now we're gonna our valves. Yeah, these are just straight up WTV valves, nothing fancy here, but these work really well. I'm not really a fan of all the other hyped up valves that are out there. As long as you take care of your tubeless stuff, remove the valve core every once in a while and unclog it, you're fine. These work really well. Every once in a while you probably want to replace the valve core. Other than that, just regular old valves work just fine. Now some people put glue around these, okay? Some people do that. Some people lube it. I've seen people lube it. You can do all that. That's fine. It doesn't... You can go the extra mile, for sure. But for this situation, I trust this tire. I trust this rim tape and this rim. So I think everything's going to actually seal up really well. All right, so we'll open the tire here. So what I like to do first, typically, is actually put the tire on first before I put the sealant in, and air up the tire to its max PSI, let it sit for a while. If I don't hear any air coming out, that's usually a good sign. If it doesn't leak within the first 10 minutes, that's a really good sign that you have a perfect seal. But what this does is basically, before I put the seal in there, I want to let the air pressure push the tape down and seal everything down, because all that air pressure inside is actually pushing around on the inside and pushing down this. And what I don't want is for, like, if there's a little air gap, a little opening, if I put the sealant in right away, sometimes it'll sneak in there before it has time to actually set and cure. So that's why I want to do that first. So anyways, I did a video not that long ago about installing tires without tire levers, and people were telling me, oh, start at the valve or end at the valve. It's much easier, and yes, I agree with you, but you don't always have to do that. But it does make the most sense. But a lot of times what I do is, like, I'm starting at the valve because I'm putting the logo at the valve, and that's why I do it that way. So yeah, you can even hear it kind of like pushing it down, pushing the tape down. So there's the valve. A lot of times what I do is I push the valve. This is tubeless, so you can't, but I'll push the valve up, and that'll enable it to have a little bit more slack. Like, the head on this valve is not very thick, so it's not pushing the tire out too much. So, but for all the people out there that commented and told me to end at the valve, here you go. I'm gonna end at the valve. And hopefully I don't need a tire lever. I don't think I do. There it is. Boom. So I think we should be able to just air this right up. Yep. Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. So I just put 50 in there, so it's a little higher than you're supposed to, but that's okay. So while that's doing its thing, I'm gonna just monitor it. I'm gonna also double check this cassette. This is one thing I always try to do if I have the wheel off, just to make sure these are tight. This one, there it goes. Yep, that's all good. Just want to make sure those aren't coming loose or anything weird. Okay, so while that's happening, I'm going to do the other wheel. It's going to be pretty much the same thing. I'm going to keep this over here near the air compressor so I can keep it aired up while it's letting the tape cure. So yeah, so all right, so we got both wheels all good. Well, they still need sealant, but I'm going to wait, like I said, before I put the sealant in. Let them sit a little bit longer. Let's get this string stand out of the way. Okay. Okay, so go ahead and remove the brake pads first so we don't get oil on those. And this is a weird year. Wait, what? I had the right size? Okay. I gotta take this clip out before I freaking ruin it. The clip out there. There it is. Okay. Yeah, this is like a weird year for the SRAM brakes, these road brakes, because they made these weird pads and they're kind of hard to find. Yeah, they made these, which then they changed back over to the more common pad style. So we'll set those aside. We don't need those. And before we get any further, we're gonna put some gloves on because we're gonna be using dot fluid, which you don't want to get dot fluid on your hands. It's not recommended. So we'll start there, and we got our dot So we don't need the bleeding edge one. We're gonna use, we'll go ahead and remove the bleeding edge adapter. And we're just gonna run, I believe it's just the red one. Okay. And then we'll use this little guy made by Red Side Custom Tools. Yeah, it's 3D printed stuff. This is a pretty good tool. I like it. Holds the syringe for you in place. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll get a rag, and we'll put the rag. I like to put one like right here, just in case I get oil. I don't want it to like fall back. And then we're gonna use our brake handlebar. Sorry, our handlebar stopper there, so it doesn't rotate. And I think I have the right size for this. This is not the right size, but this will work. Let's go ahead and remove the bleed screw. Get that off. And we'll throw that in there. That guy. And then we need some sealant. Sorry, we need some fluid. This should be fine. Okay, it's about half full. And we'll do this one. Put a little bit in this one. Okay. All right. Now I'm probably gonna need this to remove side, so we'll go ahead and take this. All right. Now, the way this one works, it's got the bleed valve down here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to actually reach this. There's oil coming out. I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit this. All right, this is very kooky design here, but whatever. Okay, so I gotta now I gotta remove the whole caliper and let it hang. So this is usually a Torx. Yep, Torx T25. So we're gonna go ahead and just remove the caliper because can't actually access the bleed port. Which is kind of annoying, but whatever. Extra steps. That's all it is. So yeah, there's the bleed valve right there. So we'll go ahead and throw this bad boy on there. This is gonna hold our syringe. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the bleed valve. Beautiful. Go ahead and set this over here for right now, so it's not my way. Okay, so thread this bad boy in. Come on, dude. Damn. There we go. Dude. I haven't done one of these in a while, but they are a bit annoying. And we need a bleed block. Well, we don't necessarily need a bleed block, but we should put a bleed block in there. Okay, that one like barely fits. That works. Okay, now we can play bleed the brakes. So thread this bad boy on there. I don't think these are going to be too dirty, but I just want to get the stuff out, at least give it a flush. So here we go. So now I'm pushing here and we got fluid coming through, so that looks good. So I'm gonna stop it right there. That doesn't look too bad, but because it's the rear one, I'm gonna do one more. So what we'll do is we'll take this, unthread this bad boy. Perfect. Love when I drop stuff. All right, let's take this now, and then we'll just empty this in my little chamber so we can recycle it later on. Put that back on. All right. Also, make sure to undo that. And actually, we need that to be closed so it doesn't bleed out. Should keep a vacuum. All right. So we'll do another one here. Just about 15-ish cc's of oil. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just pull out the bubbles real quick, and then so that looks good. Okay, and we can push it in. Oh, sorry, we gotta open this valve. All right, so here we go. So that looks good. Gonna push that all the way to about right there. Okay, so now rotate this up, and then we're just gonna pull back a little bit, try to get some bubbles out there. You can see bubbles coming through. Now we're just gonna pull it back because this will suck bubbles through. Okay, once that's good. Whoops. I'm gonna rotate this down. So hopefully it'll push the bubbles up. If there are any more left in there. Okay. Rotate this back up. Pull, pull, pull. Jeez. Slippery. Okay. All right, I'm gonna do this one more time, but this time I'm going to hold this up. Back. Lock this bad boy out. I'm gonna apply pressure and just pump this lever. Okay, now I'm just pulling, trying to get any last bit of bubbles in there. Okay, push that. Okay. All right, that's good. So we're gonna remove this side and cap it off first. So we got this right here. Gotta be kind of quick. Also, removing this is super awkward. There we go. All right, just get that back in there. Perfect. Just what I wanted. Oh man. It goes in at a weird angle, so it's really hard to find it. So this one you want to make sure it's snug because oil can get past that thing if it's not like perfectly snug. Remove our bleed block. Okay, that's stuck. Got that thing wedged in there pretty good. A little soap and water. Rinse my gloves off real quick before I start grabbing my tools. All right, let's get this block out. Damn. Let's see. There we go. All right, cool. Got the block out. So we're gonna just finish off now by cleaning the caliper, getting all the nasty stuff off of it, the dirt, whatnot. Just gonna hit it with the real quick. The other thing I like to do is push the pistons out and just kind of give them a little rinse. SRAM doesn't recommend you cleaning pistons. They're pistons. They don't want you to clean it with anything or lube them. That's directly from SRAM. So I'm gonna cap this real quick, and then I'm gonna push the lever. Just pushing the lever now. Trying to get the pistons to move out. You can kind of see there. I'll get closer. Okay, so they're coming out. That's good. All right, look at that. Perfect. So it's my little tool. It's just like a 3mm old aluminum ruler. And then, yeah, we'll go ahead and clean it again. So I've talked to SRAM directly, and they are saying don't get anything on it. But I still like to clean it with a little soap and water regardless, just to get the dirt off the pistons and stuff. I won't use anything harsh anymore, at least, like Simple Green. Which Simple Green is not even that harsh because I usually mix it down fairly light. But I just want to clean it, that's all. I just want to get the dirt off of it. And also when you push the pistons out, it's nice because then you can kind of reset them. A lot of times they get stuck. Okay, whoops, sorry. All right, now we gotta push it back in. I don't have a special tool for this. Just have a tire lever. Open that up. Plastic tire lever works pretty good most of the time. So we're just gonna push that out. And then we're gonna finish off with some alcohol just to get the outside clean. So I know there was a little bit of oil. So we're just gonna clean the outside with just alcohol. Get it nice and clean. Use a little tool. Get the rag in there just to make sure you get. Just want to make sure you get every bit of like oil off your caliper. You don't want oil in there, especially you don't want them touching your pads. That's gonna contaminate the pads. Okay, and do this one now. Get this caliper bolted back on. All right, sweet. That's good. Throw some air back in here. So this is the back wheel. Yep, that looks good. Just gonna kind of just clean off the rotor real quick, make sure I didn't get any bad stuff on there, oil or anything while I was working with it. And then here are the pads. So I'm gonna do something similar to the pads. I'm just gonna kind of clean them off real quick. Whoops. Just gonna hit them with a little bit of that soapy water. I'm gonna get some sandpaper out here. Okay, this is 120. Just gonna, I don't know if these are contaminated or not. I don't think they are, but I'm just gonna kind of resurface them, sand them a little bit, because I'm gonna re-break them in anyway, or rebed them into the rotor anyway. So I'm just gonna clean them off. You can use alcohol for this. It's kind of a waste, but I just use soap and water. Okay, this is just gonna clean these off, and then you can just use regular water. Okay, that's it. Just dry it off real quick. That's all I wanted to do. Just get all the road grime off of them, because I don't want to put them in and then go out and test ride it and find out it's squealing. You know, they're contaminated and the brake's squealing. Then I gotta yank the pads back out and, you know, start that whole process over again, which I don't want to do. So I'll run these in there. This bad boy, put the pin in. All right. The 2.5 millimeter Allen. Make sure it's snug. And then I forget. Man, I cannot see that like that. All right. Hit this up. So this is just gonna go right there like that. Okay, I gotta use my pliers to put that back on. So that's a pain. A little bit of a task. I'm gonna turn it the other way. I think it goes the other way, right? No, it goes that way. That's how it's shown. Guess that's right. Okay. Yeah. Not the greatest design in the world, but whatever. I'm not an engineer, so what do I know? Just open this. Pull that down. All right, now put that wheel on. Just gonna pump this while the syringe is still on. See if that firms up. These aren't the greatest brakes in the world, I'm not gonna lie. Like the SRAM, especially this generation SRAM Force brakes they don't feel very great. I mean, like, this is still very like squishy, like, you know, and did everything the way they want it to be done. So what I like to do, if that's the case, if it feels kind of squishy, what I'll do is actually pump the lever and let the pads come together like that. And then while that's pumping, let the pads come together, and then I'll just try to yank out any, see if there's any more bubbles in there. Let's rotate this up a little bit more, see if we can catch any bubbles coming in and out. Also, if you rotate, especially on the Shimano systems, if you rotate it down, you'll actually catch some bubbles too. Yeah. See if we get any. I think we pretty much got all of them when we did the bleed there, but I just want to make sure. All right, we'll rotate it back up. See if we get any now. Few coming through. All right, whoops. Okay, so now we've done that. Let's go ahead and spread the pads back open. Put the wheel back on. real quick, just see. Actually, I take the wheel back off because I need to clean it. Still need to clean the bike. I'm not always doing things in the most efficient order. That feels a lot better. So it's like way better. And there's some more bubbles right there. See how that works? Yeah, I feel like sometimes when you let the pistons come in like that, and if you have the pads in there, it's okay. The pistons won't pop out, so you can like pull the lever, let the pistons come out, or let the pistons come out, and then when you push them back in, I feel like it gets some of those bubbles that are trapped in weird spots. So now it feels like way better. Doesn't feel like Shimano, but it feels way better. Okay, great. I am happy with that. So we'll go ahead and seal this up, get that wheel off, and then we'll start on the front brake. And should be good. So we'll go ahead and rotate this out. Try to make sure we catch any oil. Put our finger over that. Grab this guy. Tighten that up. So we'll use some soap and water for this real quick. It's kind of nasty in there. Hand sweat and stuff. Just some light alcohol real quick just to dry up any oil that's missed. Okay. And then we'll just blow it out real quick. Clean that up a little bit more. And voila. Yeah, feels solid. All right, so we got the front brake all dialed pretty much, but I did notice that when I went to advance the pistons with the pads in, I noticed that one piston was being favored over the other. So we got inconsistent piston movement. So one piston is moving and the other isn't. And so you can see it, hopefully you can see it. You see it right here on this side, that this piston right here is actually moving and this one's not. So we need to correct that as best as we can. Now you can't, sometimes it can come back, but at least when we're doing this and bleeding it and cleaning it, we can try and fix that issue, rebalance them. So we're gonna just push this. Is that open? No, it's not. Open that back up. We're gonna push this back in. Okay, reset this. Start over. Okay, so while that's doing, now that we got that push back in, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take my pad spreader and put it on the metal part of the pad, not the actual pad material, so you can kind of see. And then I'm gonna squeeze the brake lever. Whoops. I'm gonna squeeze the brake lever now, and that should let the other piston, now you can see the other one just moved. So now I'm gonna just squeeze this one, and that should let that one move. And then we should get even pad movement. Now they're both dead center, or at least they both are moving evenly. So that's what we want. We don't want them to move unevenly because it's not good for them, and also when you go to align the caliper, it's going to be off. So now that we got those, I'm just gonna make sure there's no bubbles left in there. That looks good. don't have enough oil here in my syringe to actually do this correctly. I kind of screwed up there a little bit, but it's all good. Once I push the pistons back in, it'll push all that oil up. So we'll go ahead and just do that now. Just take that out and make sure that's okay. Those are good. Just make sure the spring is good. Yep, spring's good. Everything looks good. Sweet. Yep. Yep, and then we'll just go ahead and throw the wheel in there real quick, just to make sure everything feels solid. Wheel's in there. Go ahead and pump that. See how that feels. Oh yeah. Okay, are we getting any bubbles? No. Push that back in there like that. Okay, that feels really good. I like that. So we'll go ahead and tighten this up, seal it up. We're good to go. Just gonna catch that, make sure nothing comes out. Okay. Right, back to our regular scheduled program here. Okay, get the ISO on there real quick. Whoops. Just dropping stuff today like crazy. Okay, that, and we gotta switch this out. Alright, so brakes are good. I'm gonna go ahead and clean the bike now, so I'm gonna blow all the dust off and then just give it a nice wipe down. Alright, so let's give this thing a quick little bath. And I'm just gonna do some soapy water on it real quick. Hopefully I didn't get any water on the camera. And I'm gonna just go ahead and scrub this real quick. Get off some of that hand sweat. See if I have anything. This might be better. No, I'm gonna use this. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, into there real quick. All right, sweet. We'll just take any leftover rag here, hit it with some water so it can move. Just give it a little wipe down. This is usually my preferred method for cleaning bikes if they're not like super dirty, just to avoid taking it outside and using the hose on it. This is kind of like It's almost like doing a sponge bath, you know, you're like someone in the hospital, can't get out of bed. So this would be my method. I do this for my own bike. I do this for a lot of bikes I work on. Just, it depends on the situation. If it's like super dirty, yeah, I'll take it outside and give it a real good cleaning. But the point is, I'm not trying to like hose down the bike, because I don't want to get water in certain places of the bike that are going to be good for it. So if we can avoid that, then it's good. And this bike wasn't like super dirty. So yeah, that's pretty much it right there. And then we'll just kind of dry it off, and then we'll come back and hit it with some polish, some Pedro's Bike Lust, just to give it that shine, make it look all pretty. All right, so while I'm here, I'm just gonna double check these cranks. These feel good. I don't imagine those coming loose, but you never know. So I'll take this. Okay, so bike is pretty much all clean now. Tires seem to be holding air pretty well. So I kind of let them sit for a lot longer than I normally would, which is fine. Now I'm gonna put the sealant in there and seal it up, and then basically just check the shifting, make sure everything is good, and this bike's done. Take it out for a test ride, you know. Yeah, cassette's really good, looks really good. So all right, well, let's do the I'll put this stuff away later. Let's check the, we'll close this so it doesn't spill all over the place. Put that back in there. All right, so let's put this away. This is getting nasty. I need to order more tape, matter of fact. Okay, so let's do the tubeless. That is pretty straightforward. Let's see. Well, there's like a little bit left in there, a little bit here. I need this, and my patented tubeless stir stick here. I mostly use orange seal, and I feel like it kind of separates in there, and you gotta like stir it really well. You can see it there. It's like separated at the bottom. And instead of just shaking it for like 10 minutes straight, I use this, and this will get all the sediment out. And this one's a little full. This one's a little full. So in this case, when it's full like that, kind of empty it out into this one, kind of after I mix it, all right? And then this makes it easier to mix. Because right now I'm making a huge mess right now. This is embarrassing. Okay, I'm making a huge mess. There's probably orange seal. But normally it's not like this, because normally I have these are brand new. I just went through one canister, so normally I have one that's like half filled and it doesn't make a huge mess like this. So it looks easy. I'm a little more pro. So we're gonna measure everything out. Don't want any added weight or anything like that. So we'll zero this. I'm gonna put 3 ounces in there. So we're gonna go for 3 ounces. Okay. It was a little bit over, but that's okay. Not all of it's gonna make it in there anyways. Okay. Now we're gonna find the tire, the wheel, Open the valve. And when I do it this way, what I'll do is actually I'll push the tire like this, so that way when I pull this off and I let go, it sucks the rest back in. Because if you don't do that and you push it in and you pull this off, it like shoots out sometimes and gets everywhere. So make sure you decompress it first. Looks like it's leaking out of the bottle a little bit, so. And there you go. See, that time it didn't shoot out, which is good. Even though I did spill some on the tire down here. All right. I'm just gonna peel this off because it's annoying me. There we go. Something like that. Brakes need to be adjusted, so we'll do that. Do that in a minute. See the, oh gosh, just push that in while there was no wheel in there. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. It's not good for it. All right, now we'll do the rear one. Make sure this is okay. Oh gosh, I went over a little bit there. 3.3, okay. Keep things consistent. And I need to clean this out a little bit because it's got some little boogers in there that are not letting it seal. So that's what's making it leak out. So I've reused this thing a ton of times. You don't need to buy a fancy syringe. I don't recommend using tubeless syringes because they just get clogged and they don't last very long. This is just what the orange seal came in. I've been using it for years and it's really easy to clean and won't go bad. Whereas I've had multiple stand syringes and they just like go bad and it's like, why am I buying a syringe for this? Okay. I am overinflating it a little bit just because I want some pressure in there. Make sure that the tubeless sealant kind of gets into all the little nooks and crannies. All right. Just double check the shifting here. looks good. I'm gonna give that chain a bit of a wipe down. All right, this bad boy all good to go. Nice and clean. Just gonna get this, wipe this chain off real quick. The chain and the chain ring. Kind of cleaned up there. Throw some lube on this real quick, and then she's good to go. Okay, that's good, not too much. We're out of paper towels, so we'll use this. It's got oil on it. Just gonna do this. We don't need that much. See, like a little rag. You don't want too much oil on your chain because then it'll just fling all over the place. So we just kind of want it to soak in and then wipe off the excess, and you're good to go. Yep, so let's do this one more time. All right, perfect. Now I'm just gonna go break in the brake pads to the rotors, give it a test ride, and that's it. If you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you for watching. Greatly appreciate it. If you want to subscribe, go for it. Hit the like button. You know what to do, all that stuff. Other than that, this is ready to go. New tires, brakes flushed, pads cleaned, calipers cleaned. Give it a nice wipe down. I'm just gonna go through now and just check every nut and bolt, make sure everything's tight, and give it a good test ride. And that's it. Thanks for hanging out with me.